Alright, this is the disassembly video for the M1A or M14 magazines. This is probably pretty self-explanatory, but I've never seen one, so I thought I'd do one. This is a CMI 20 round magazine, and it has the 6 dimples on the latch plate, and also there's a line under the second circle, if you can see it. And it also is marked Checkmate Industries on the floor plate. This is a supposedly Type 57 Taiwanese magazine. There are 13 welds along the front. They're not very good, and there's one up there by the hole. And the magazine plate isn't marked, and there are no other markings on it anywhere. The springs are about the same length. This one it bends up a little bit more in front. This one, you can see that the CMI version just lays flat. And this is a CMI 25 round magazine, which is relatively recent. I believe they came out some a year or two ago. It's my first one. I have never used them before. The CMI magazines are undoubtedly the best. They're GI spec, and they are the GI issue magazine right now. If you can find Vietnam era 20 round magazines, they are just as good, of course, but there are a lot of fakes out there, so I just prefer to get the CMI current ones. Alright, so basically the only tool you need to disassemble is a punch or a bullet tip, and there's a hole right here, and then the back of the plate is sort of stamped and pushed up a little bit. That's what makes the little latch against the bottom of the plate. So you put your tool in here, pull up a little bit, and then move back over the top of the side of the magazine, the back of the magazine, and that will allow the floor plate to slip off. You don't really have to worry about the spring flying out in these because it's retained by these little lips here. So the way to get these out is you can walk this little square loop of spring out until it comes out in front of the lips, and that will allow the sides of the spring to, each of the little coils will sort of hit the lip as it comes out. You just walk it back and forth until it comes down to the follower, which is connected to the spring. And when you get to the follower, you just basically need to tilt it one way. So tilt it like this, and it will come out. Put it back in the same way. And then you just need to remember, obviously the follower will only go in one way, but if you take the follower off of the spring, the round part, the round loop, is the front, and the rectangular part of the spring fits against the flat back part of the follower. Okay. Forgot to show you how to remove the follower if you want to. You need to get a knife or a very small thin screwdriver, and basically there are these molded in or stamped in lips that retain the spring. There's one here and one here. So you start by, there's a little bit of a space right here. You can stick something thin in there and pry it away from the lip, and that will let that spring pop out. So then when you reinstall, you put the lip in like that, and the right side of the, I guess it's actually the left side, but upside down it's the right side, in first, and then snap that spring back in until it clicks, and then you're all back together again. Rock on. So clean that up, use some solvent, whatever you want to do, clean them out, and then I would leave them dry personally. And now you can see the difference between the 25 round spring and the 20 round spring from CMI. This one's longer by, I think, maybe 1 or 2 links. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so the 25 round has 8 links. Or 9 depending on how you count, but it's one longer than the 20 rounder, and it's about a couple inches longer. The original ones, I believe the original 25 rounds were released with the same length spring, and they had some minor issues with those, but they will replace them. I can't recommend CMI and 44mag.com enough. I don't work for them, I don't get paid by them, but they're pretty much the only source that I would recommend to get GI magazines from. And they're cheaper than most of the crap that you get. Speaking of crap, this is the Chinese knockoff, or it may not be Taiwanese, it may just be a crappy impersonation of a Type 57 magazine. The only troubles I've been having have been with the cheap knockoff ones, which I of course paid about the same as a regular CMI mag for. So I'm going to replace this follower with a replacement CMI follower. You can get followers and springs and parts individually if you want. I just bought a bag of 5 to replace my crappy mags, and see if that helps. There's obviously more issues with these crappy magazines than with CMI mags. So wipe them down. You can wipe the springs with oil if you want, like a rag with a little bit of oil on it. If they're dirty, I would not lube them with anything other than dry lube, some sort of graphite dry lube or something, because oil will collect crap and dirt. And to get it back together, you just insert it back the way it was. So you tip the follower in, let's see here, like that, and then lock the springs in past the lips. Let me see if I can get a better shot here. Here we go. And then once you get to the last one, you kind of bring it forward and slip that rectangular plate. I don't know if you can see that what I'm doing here. Underneath the lips like that. And move it back, and that will be retained. And then slide the floor plate on, make sure that the bottom, if it's marked, put the mark on the bottom. And then forward until it snaps. And you might have to whack it with a wooden dowel or something to get that last. There we go. Just pushed it until it clicked. And there you go. One more thing that can happen, I just found out when I was reinstalling the base plate on the CMI magazine, is that we'll be at an angle like this, and the floor plate will catch on these little molded in side ribs here. So if you're trying to push it on, it won't go on unless you pry it up. It's obviously pretty self-explanatory, but just in case you may not be able to figure it out, you just pry it up with a little bit with something, and then over those lips, and then it will go on. And then push pretty hard, and it should click. And make sure that little tab is inside the back wall of the magazine, and you're good to go. And make sure that everything goes smoothly. There you go. And here's a comparison between the length of the standard USGI length 20 round M14 magazine and the new CMI 25 round magazine. They've also made some aftermarket, people have made some 30 rounders, I believe. I wouldn't even mess with those. But the 25 round might come in handy, those extra 5 rounds at some point. And it's actually not that much longer. Looks a little strange in the rifle if you're used to the traditional design, but those extra 5 rounds will be nice. Those extra 5 rounds and the $12 those extra 5 rounds will cost you.